Imagine sitting alone with absolutely nothing making a sound. No music, no messages, no videos, no notifications, just silence. For many people, that silence becomes uncomfortable surprisingly quickly. And that raises a strange question. Why does doing nothing feel so difficult now? Humans have always experienced silence. For most of history, there was no constant stream of entertainment waiting in your pocket. No screen could instantly fill an empty moment. No algorithm could immediately recommend something new. But modern life changed that. Today, a few seconds of waiting can feel strangely long. You stand in an elevator. Your hand reaches for your phone. You wait for food. You check your messages. You sit on a bus. You open another app. Nothing important happened, yet your brain searched for something to happen. This behavior is not necessarily because people suddenly became less patient. Part of the explanation is repetition. Every time you check a notification, watch a short video, or receive a message, your brain gets new information. Sometimes it is surprising. Sometimes it is rewarding. Sometimes it is completely useless. But it is new, and novelty matters to the brain. Researchers studying attention and reward have found that unexpected information can strongly influence our behavior. Your brain constantly asks one basic question: what happens next? Modern technology gives it an almost infinite number of answers. A video ends. Another begins. A message appears. Another notification follows. You scroll. Something new appears. Then something else. There is almost never a natural stopping point. And that changes the meaning of boredom. Boredom used to be unavoidable. You waited. You stared outside. You walked around. You talked to someone. You simply had nothing to do. Those moments gave the brain space without demanding immediate attention. Now, boredom can disappear within seconds. You don't have to tolerate it. You can escape it. That escape can become automatic. Psychologists call this kind of behavior habitual. You don't necessarily decide to check your phone. Your hand simply moves. The strange part is that the trigger can be extremely small. A pause, a notification sound, a moment of uncertainty, even the feeling that you might be missing something. Your phone becomes an answer to boredom before you consciously recognize boredom. And there is another layer. Modern apps are designed around engagement. Their goal is not simply to show you information. They are built to keep you interacting. Infinite scrolling removes the natural end of a page. Autoplay removes the decision to start the next video. Notifications bring the outside world directly into your attention. Each feature seems tiny. Together, they create an environment where stopping becomes unusual. Think about the last time you watched one short video. You probably didn't decide exactly when the session would end. The next video was already waiting, and the next one after that. This creates something very different from older forms of entertainment. A television program eventually ended. A book eventually reached its final page. A newspaper eventually ran out of articles. Many digital platforms don't have an ending. There is always more. And when there is always more, silence becomes the opposite. Silence means nothing is arriving. For a brain accustomed to constant novelty, that can feel strangely empty. But silence itself isn't harmful. In fact, quiet periods can be useful. They give attention fewer things to react to. They can create room for reflection. They can make ordinary thoughts more noticeable. And sometimes, that is exactly why silence feels uncomfortable. When the noise disappears, your own thoughts become louder. You suddenly notice things you were ignoring. A problem, a memory, a worry, an unfinished decision. The phone wasn't necessarily solving those things. It was simply covering them. This may explain why some people immediately reach for stimulation when they feel uncomfortable. The goal isn't always entertainment. Sometimes it is escape. Modern technology makes that escape incredibly easy. You don't need a television. You don't need a computer. You don't even need to leave your chair. An entire world fits inside a rectangle in your hand. And that changes something fundamental. The distance between feeling bored and being entertained has almost disappeared. So what happens when boredom becomes optional? We don't completely know yet. Digital technology is still relatively young. The smartphone became a mass-market object only in the early 21st century. That is an incredibly short period in human history. Our brains evolved over much longer timescales. They were not not designed specifically for infinite feeds. They were not designed for hundreds of notifications. They were not designed to receive information from thousands of people simultaneously. Yet the brain adapts. That adaptation can be useful. Technology gives us access to education, communication, creativity, and information on an extraordinary scale. The problem isn't that technology exists. The question is whether we control the attention we give it, because attention is limited. Every notification asks for a small piece. Every video asks for another moment. Every message interrupts whatever your brain was doing before. Individually, these interruptions seem harmless. Together, they can make uninterrupted attention harder to maintain. And that brings us back to silence. Maybe silence feels uncomfortable now because we have become extremely good at escaping it. We don't necessarily hate silence. We may simply have forgotten how to experience it. The strange thing is that nothing needs to happen for silence to be valuable. No notification, no video, no message, no reward. Just a few minutes where your attention isn't being pulled somewhere else. Perhaps the most unusual luxury of modern life isn't having more entertainment. It's being able to sit without needing any. Because when every empty second can be filled, choosing to leave one empty might become a form of freedom.